Folks, I'm going to put myself under the microscope again and or show off, depending on how you look at it. Um, did some flying today. I've been recently went to BetaFlight 216 and have started working on getting air mode. I run with air mode active all the time now, and I've just been working on getting the tuning sort of dialed in since switching to 216 and turning on air mode. And I feel like I've got it. Well, I feel like it's flying as good as I could ask it to fly. That doesn't mean I'm not still looking at the traces and tweaking things to see if I can get it to fly better, because that's just how I am. But if you were to ask me, is this it? Is this your final answer? Is this the best you can tune it? And I wasn't looking at Blackbox, to try and tell you something to tweak. I would confidently say, yep, I'm happy to hold this quad up as an example of my tuning. Um, so I'm going to make the files available as well because I think people are often wondering, what do I think like a good tune looks like? And not everybody has the same answer to that. Different people tune different ways, different people have different preferences. But, this is still people are interested to see what I think, what other people think, and I'm motivated to put it out there. So here it is. Oh, dang it, hang on. All right, so let's take a look. So the first thing, as usual, go to the gyros, zoom out 10%, and let's see what we got. One thing you'll notice is my yaw axis it's kind of noisy. It's kind of noisy. And uh, you'll see, I'm going to bring up my config dump as well. You'll see that I don't have hardware filtering turned on. And so I am actually intentionally accepting that extra noise as a consequence. Yeah, see, gyro LPF is completely off. So that's the hardware filter in the MCU. And then I've got gyro soft LPF on, of course. So I'm accepting that additional noise as a consequence of trying to get sharper response. When we first got the soft filters, there was a real push to try to make these lines look as clean as possible because really for the first time we could, we weren't just kind of stuck with what we got. But we sort of, so you kind of excitedly run that direction and find the limit of it, and then you go, well, wait a second, is this really the best thing? But you kind of got to, eat enough ice cream to make yourself sick before then you go, okay, maybe it's time to eat some broccoli or whatever. So I feel like this flies really good, and I don't feel like that is actually causing me any problems. If I could, I would make it a little cleaner. I feel like it's a little noisy, and it probably is making a difference, but not enough of a difference to make me want to turn the hardware filter back on again. So that's where I am with that. It is what it is. Let's take a look then at my roll axis. And I checked this stuff before I started making the video. I feel like my roll axis is pretty solid where I would like it to be. Let me just turn it down here just a little slower. And here I'm going high throttle, mid to high throttle, 16 to 1700. It's not max throttle, but reasonably high throttle. And we can see that the P term is active. It is spiking a little, but it's not getting to the point of oscillation, right? Here you might almost say that you were starting to see something like an oscillation. Maybe, but it's not very big in magnitude. So although I'm at 17, and by the way, I'm not running any TPA at all. Let me just confirm that for you. Yeah, TPA rate is 0. I'm not running any TPA at all. So this, I feel like this is pretty much where I want it to be. I don't feel like I want to force it any higher. We can see during more extreme moves, like now it's starting to really get active, right? So that's the reason why I probably wouldn't turn it up any higher, because during big extreme moves, we really do start to see it get active, and I wouldn't like to start seeing it oscillating during times like that. But we can still get to reasonably high throttle without getting it too out of sorts. Now, the D term here is slightly bigger in magnitude than the P term. I do feel like that's where I want it to be. I don't see too many crazy swings where the D term is jumping around like crazy. It is pretty active, and let's check our, yeah, D term cut hertz of 40. I've tried D term cut hertz of 0. I wasn't sure it felt better, and I wasn't sure it felt worse, so I kind of went back to what I was familiar with, and I'm just leaving it alone. Um, of course, that would be different on BetaFlight 220, where the D term cut hertz says two whole separate things, depending on whether it's on or off. You can see during some moves, like this is, let's watch what this move is. This is a sort of a turn, and I'm sliding a little bit through prop wash. You can see that the P term definitely gets a little sloppy and a little messy and active. It doesn't reach the point of oscillation, but it definitely wakes up and moves around. It's not just sort of slumbering the whole time. And the D term is also active, but never gets to the actual point of oscillation. And most of the time, it's really well behaved. This is all we might almost, this is almost, yeah, kind of, the D term certainly looks like it's oscillating here. So let's see if that actually sounds like anything. So, I don't know, could you hear that? It's debatable. It's only for a very short period of time. So, I mean, like I say, you know, you gotta ask yourself, am I gonna screech the tires every now and then if I'm really running hot and fast? Or am I gonna drive it like a Cadillac and never screech the tires, right? And always have a nice soft suspension. Sometimes you get some bumps in the road. But overall, I feel like this is pretty much where I want it to be, even though sometimes it gets pretty messy looking. It's, if you watch the video, I'm not going to play the video for you here. I'm going to give you a link. You can download it if you feel like it. I feel like it's flying really good. Let's take a look at pitch. Now pitch, on the other hand, I feel like pitch P can probably come up. I'm going to leave D alone. Originally, I thought D could come up, because if we look through this, we can find a lot of places where D looks smaller than P, like right here, for example. You can see P is larger in magnitude, whereas D is kind of just sitting there. You know, maybe here-ish. P is larger in magnitude than D. You know, so yeah, see right here. So you might say, oh well, and things like this make you say, but things like this make me say, yeah, pitch P really should come up. So I'm going to knock this up a little bit. Let me see if I can find a good high throttle scenario here. See what it does. Here's a high throttle scenario. You can see it's not getting, and what? Let's see, I'm going to do some acro move over the top here. I don't know what that was. That's kind of weird. Is that a dropout? No. That's kind of weird. Oh well, let's not overthink it. I think that's just a display artifact, I suspect. I could be wrong. So here it's starting to wake up. P term is starting to wake up and get active, right? It's getting off the line. D is really still is a little underrepresented. Normally, if P was being this active, I would kind of expect D to be flipping out a little bit too. Nothing that looks like oscillation, and a lot of the time, it's very docile here. So it's possible that both P and D need to come up here, but I'm not going to tweak them both at the same time because D depends on P, right? So first I'm going to tweak P, and let's just, didn't need to do that, but there you go. Hello, connect, connect. There we go. So let's take a look here. Pitch P. Let's take that up to 5.0, I say. And I'm going to leave D alone now, but I might end up raising pitch D as well. By the way, this is on 4S, and wow, 5.0. Is that high? I don't know. I mean, things are moving so fast nowadays. Who knows what's high and what's low? All right, so let's take a look at the yaw axis next. You might expect from that messy gyro for the yaw axis to also be a bit of a mess. And boy, there are times when it's a bit of a mess. I've kind of thought about whether I should be using the yaw P-term filter. I believe there's a P-term cut hertz just for yaw. because yaw can sometimes be so noisy and make issue like this. And I really am sort of torn because, I mean, if you just look at the black box, you say, well, yeah, you got to filter this a little bit more. You know, this is so sloppy. But at the same time, if you watch the video, and I'm not going to play it for you and record it, and, you know, you can watch it on your own time. I'll give you a link. Uh, Gosh, it seems really good. It seems to fly good, and I have no complaints. So this is an example, I would say. I mean, look at that. Is that too bad? I don't know. I'd need someone else's professional opinion on this to tell me. I feel like it flies good. I don't feel like it has negative effects. There certainly are times, as you can see at high throttle, where it is going bonkers. Um, it's super noisy, but you know, the thing is, although it's super noisy, it's not oscillating. If you compare this to one of the videos from my last batch of reviews where somebody had a yaw term that was just flipping out the whole time. This is noise being reflected in the D term, maybe in the P term, but it's not really oscillating. So I don't think the P term is too high. Yeah, almost starting to look like an oscillation here. Sort of that regular characteristic. Let's see what happens when we go to high throttle. It's definitely very active. I wonder if the thing to do here is to decrease D on yaw. We know that yaw is very noisy. We know that D amplifies noise. Maybe what we're seeing here is that the gyro is being dragged around by the D term and the D term is super active. Yeah, I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to knock that down by a pretty big chunk. Let's say from 22 down to 15 and see what that looks like. That's what I'm going to do. And then I think if I decrease D here, then P may settle down as well. Because we don't see any signs of excess P gain in terms of oscillation. So it makes me think the P gain is probably about right. But we see the P term jumping all over the place. Well, what's making the P term jump all over the place? The gyro, of course, is noisy, but the D term can only be making that worse. So let's see if I decrease the D term, will the P term kind of settle down a little bit? Possibly it will. Okay, there's a little walkthrough for you. I'm going to give you a link to the video and the CleanFlight dump and the Blackbox log, and you can dig into this all you want if you're so inclined. Hope that's helpful, and as always, happy flying.